Hey guys, Josh here, CrossFit Arena, talking Wednesday's workout, but talking a follow-up to yesterday's workout and the push-ups. So some of us get done with push-ups and we feel it in our traps. That's probably not a good thing. What we're probably doing is pushing our shoulders forward as we go down or reaching towards the floor with our face. Probably not a good idea. So the first piece is try to relax, try to keep the traps, these big things, as a secondary stabilizer as opposed to my primary mover, which should be my chest and arguably a little bit of my back and triceps and so on and so forth. But let's say that I am tender, that my traps do get on me. You have a dense ball. This is what you're gonna do with it. If you have a minute, you get right here. You're gonna put the ball underneath of the trap. So if my cameraman can see where that's at, it's pretty much on that meaty part of it. Now let's say that doesn't do anything. Okay, cool. Then I can start to raise my arm overhead, put my thumb down. Maybe that's easy. Okay, lift the hips and smile because it's the most awesome thing ever. Do that for a minute on one side, do that for a minute on the other side, and then we need to go back to the drawing board on that push-up and make sure that we're not shrugging, but that we are pushing. Okay, so let's get to our warm-up. The first piece we're gonna do, since we're already down here, we're gonna go straight into a glute bridge. Okay, it's gonna be up. We'll do 10 of those. Immediately, since I'm already down here, I'm gonna get into this table position. And if I can add in, I'm gonna go ahead and reach. So it'll be 10 glute bridges, 10 table reach, alternating, so 5 on each side. Then, I'm gonna go ahead and recover to standing. I'm gonna kick and catch. So I go here, kick, that's pretty high. Let's try it again, and kick. And again, maybe I'll give myself a super high target, and kick a field goal, whatever it is that I'm gonna kick, one on the right, one on the left, one on the right, so I get to 10. And then I'm gonna try a little bit of a different lunge pattern. So I'm gonna try a step through. We've done these before, but I take a step back, so reverse lunge back, and then miss the forward and go right in, and then come back. So again, I take a step back, so my cameraman can see I know I'm on the same leg, but I go all the way through, and then I come back. A lot more challenging for balance. As long as the knees feel good, do 10 of those. 5 on one side, 5 on the other side. I'm gonna go through that whole thing at least 3 times, maybe another time or 2 if the coach calls it out. Okay guys, so for my strength portion, again, we're talking a lot about what happens if I'm at home and I'm doing lots of pushing exercises, which is great. We need to be able to get up off the floor. We need to be able to get push-ups. But we also need to have the pulling motion to offset that. So a lot of this today is either midline or some version of a pull or some version of rotation that goes around the world into a halo, which what you'll find and kind of what's going on with the halo, there's a lot more going on with the halo than we give it credit for. When I go into this position, can I pass around without messing up my hair? Okay, because that's a big deal. So if you go here and you clunk, then that means that there's something going on with my overhead positioning, and it can tie into that shrugging, overactivation of gigantic traps and walking around like this guy all the time. Again, I go to a halo. So one of my components for today is 10 halos. This will be one, and you see I'm not diving under it. It's not that, it's just this, and I work around that. And if you have tight and sketched out shoulders, that may be fantastic. I do 10 of those, and then I follow that up with another pull to set my shoulders back. This one's gonna be a swimmer. Here's how I start this. I get all the way down, I relax all the way. Now, I really don't wanna get to my back to be really overextended. If it has extension, that's totally fine. Extension is healthy. Even overextension is healthy. Hyperextension is injured, that's unhealthy. Overextension under load is dangerous. So just so we have our terminology, I'm gonna go here, then I'm gonna pull back. So again, piece number 1, arms out in front, up. Piece number 2, pull the elbows back to what would be my push-up position, but here, go to handcuff, come back, and reach. That will be my swimmer for 1, okay? I would do that 10 times. So I have 10 halos, 10 swimmers, and I'm gonna get 20 V-ups. So the V-up's probably gonna be the really challenging part of this. Now, when I get to my V-up, if I can, I really want to get it to where I can be in hollow and then go up. And coach will give you a modification if that doesn't work, but what I want it to look like is that C shape. So not that, again, talking about that lower back, it's not that it's bad that you can have extension about the lower back, it's that it's not good to get there when we don't want to be there. And when we're in a V-up position, we don't want to be there. 20 of those. I do 4 rounds of that. 10 halos, 10 swimmers, 20 V-ups, 4 rounds. Okay guys, when I get to my conditioning piece, run burpee. I'm gonna do a 400-meter run, 20 burpees, 200-meter run, 10 burpees, 100-meter sprint. Think of this in time domain. If I don't have it marked out at home, that's totally fine. My time domain for that 400, let's say 1.5 minutes. My time domain for that 200, let's say minute. And then my time domain for that 100, let's say about 30 seconds, okay? And then my burpees, again, you can jump down or you can step down. Either one is totally fine. If I was to jump down, I just make sure that I get my wrist set. And what I like to do on a burpee, and maybe you've never tried this, is I try to replace my feet with my hands. So instead of, some folks like to dive out a little bit, I feel like that's a lot of extra work. So I try to replace my feet with my hands, and then here's the big deal. I try to do the same on the way up. As if I'm really fresh, and maybe if I don't have that anymore, maybe I'm going down, I touch, and I still jump at the top. Either way, that will work. And I will do that workout 4 times, once, all the way through. For my cool down, guys, I'm gonna get into a pigeon, but it's gonna be elevated. So the reason I like to give this one so much is because you can pretty much do it anywhere. So if you're at work or pretty much anywhere where you have a countertop, something that you can throw your leg on top of, then all I gotta do is get here. I never actually had to get to the floor. Once I do it, I try to sink, get all fancy, my hips below the object that my leg is on. So maybe it doesn't, maybe that doesn't work, or maybe I can. Maybe I can start to kind of sink down, and then, let's watch this. So what happens if I try to freestyle? Well, when I started this, it didn't feel like anything, but now that I'm trying to take this leg that's bracing me further back towards the leg that's up, ooh, that's changing the game. Now, if that's easy, maybe I can rotate. Again, I'll call it scouring, and it needs to be a point of every mobility. Once you get into a mobility that coach tells you, maybe you can scooch, adjust, scour, and find your own thing that you need to work on.